Welcome to another episode of If You Can't Take the Heat. Today we're going to lay the groundwork for a few terms that we're going to be using throughout the podcast and the video series, two of which are super important that I think if you understand will give you a better grasp of the food industry as a whole. So service versus hospitality. Service, the definition is the technical delivery of a product. Did you get a warm plate of food? Is your beer cold? Did the food come in a timely manner? Do you have a clean table to sit at? And hospitality is the way that you feel in that establishment. Were you greeted warmly? Do you feel better when you leave than when you got there? Do they make you feel important? Do they make you feel special? Those two things can be had with or without each other. And the real magic is when you put them both together. You can have excellent hospitality and service at a Waffle House, and you could have poor service and hospitality at a Michelin-starred restaurant anywhere in the world. And the ability to put those things together in a way that really shines and tie it with food as well is really what restaurants ought to be striving for every day. My favorite example of hospitality is, it's a little bit of a story, but my sister and I were in New York City for her 16th birthday. I was 18 years old. I have no idea what my parents were doing, letting us go there on our own. But we were walking through the city. It was a rainy day, and we walked by a restaurant called Bar Americain, which is Bobby Flay's restaurant. And at the time, I was a 18-year-old kid obsessed with Food Network, watching all the time. And Bobby Flay was one of the biggest names in restaurants in America. And it was 10:45. They're not open yet. My sister and I are looking at the menu placard outside the restaurant. We're drenched, soaking wet. And the maitre d' came to the door, and I thought he was going to tell us to get away from the door or something like that. And he walked up to us and asked us if we wanted to have lunch. And I was kind of embarrassed because we looked bad and we were rainy and we were kids. And I said, no, we're not dressed appropriately. He said, nonsense, come on in. And I figured he would kind of put us back in the corner of the restaurant, and he brings us to the middle table in the dining room, beautiful restaurant, and sets us up in the middle. And legitimately till this day, they treated us like every other guest in the place, like we were VIPs. And to this day, it still sticks out to me as a moment where someone was hospitable beyond the normal scope of hospitality. Anybody could have looked at us and thought these kids aren't going to spend any money, they don't look nice, whatever. But instead of hiding us off in a corner or even just not allowing us to come in, he kind of made an effort to make sure we felt taken care of. And I'll never forget it. And it impacts the way that I do things today. Thanks for joining me for another episode. I'm Chef Gavin Job, and I'll see you next time on If You Can't Take the Heat.